Welcome to Threads of Enlightenment, a podcast devoted to helping you overcome challenges in your life that prevent you from becoming the best version of yourself. Each episode features interviews with people from all walks of life about their journey of self-development and the principles they utilize to overcome their fears to achieve their desired outcome. Ready to be enlightened? Here's your host, Ken Primus.
Welcome to Threads of Enlightenment. As usual, I welcome our guests with this beautiful opening that I love, and that is to honor them. And I honor them because I know they're coming with a couple of things I deem very expensive. Their time, 24 hours given to every man and woman on this planet. How you utilize that time will tell me much about you. The other is the journey. The journey is a powerful creator. It created Robert, and it gave him some stuff that is deposited inside of him. And we want access to that. Why do we want access to that? So that you and I can become better human spirits while we are here on this planet. Robert, thank you for coming to Threads of Enlightenment, man.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor, man. One of the very first questions I ask everyone that shows up, and I love this question because it's a probing one, if you will. And that to be talked about, one becomes a servant as a result of walking through and coming out of the other side of your journey once you get familiar with yourself. And that question is, how do you serve mankind?
Like helping people believe in themselves. Like there's so many people out there with so many positive gifts and talents, and somehow through their journey, they get thrown off course. And I help people get back on course by just helping them define what it is that they want to accomplish, giving steps to find actionable steps. There we go. Couldn't spit the word out. Actionable steps that they can implement immediately so that they can start getting on the right path to whatever success they want to have. It's like, I wear many hats. So I manage a gym. That's where I am now in my gym. I host my own podcast called Shut Up and Grind. And the shut up is to yourself. Those voices telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not pretty enough, that you're not talented enough, that you're not educated enough. It's like shutting down those voices and start focusing on clarity on what it is you want to do. So from helping people get physically healthier, I help people also get mentally healthier and help them heal from whatever past traumas that they went through that got them to where they are today, so it can propel them to where they want to be.
And that is awesome, man. You mentioned, and I've mentioned this to many people before, I said there's several programmers out there. And one of the main programmers that tells you who you are and what you are is you. And I always tell the people to be very careful, because be careful what you say, because of all people that are listening, you are listening. So be very careful what you say to yourself, because you are going to believe it. You are what you eat, and whatever you're saying to you, you're eating it, guys. So be very careful what you eat.
Yes.
I know you guys, when you say that, you think of food. But when I say that, I think of what you deposit into your spirit, man, your soul, your subconscious. Be careful what you eat. But one of the spaces that we visit here in our custom here at Threads of Enlightenment is we like to start from the beginning of our beginnings, I call it. And that is the family. The family unit is usually, the customary family unit is usually you have a mom and dad, and some of us are lucky to have siblings and so forth. But this house, or this household, is just basic strangers. And we're put in together to learn a couple of things at this first post, if you will. And this first post, we're going to learn attitudes. We're going to learn how to communication skills. We're going to learn a bunch of things right there. What was your family unit like?
So I was born in New York City. I'm the youngest of 7 siblings. So 7 kids. My parents had an apartment in Brooklyn, New York. And then
Queens. I'm representing
nice.
Queens.
Okay. When my mom was pregnant with me, the house caught fire. And then they had to move into the projects in Queens. And my father didn't want that lifestyle for us. So he actually left us down there and he came up here. I'm in Rhode Island now. And he got a job at Electric Boat building submarines. Because like my dad, he was an engineer and he could literally do anything. But he got a job up there, saved money, got us a house in a rural neighborhood, great school system. And my childhood was good. It's like my parents worked hard, but they always instilled the values in us about working hard. You know, like my dad said, people will always see the color of your skin. He's like, it's up to you to help them see past it. And so he just instilled that kind of drive in us. And for me personally, I was kind of the late bloomer of my siblings and I. So we were all athletes, and I was watching them. Like my brothers were big and muscular, and I was like small and skinny. So as they're excelling in their sports,
Yeah.
I became so and so's little brother. And like that's what fueled my drive because I wanted to break free from that. I'm like, my name is Robert Foster. And
Yeah.
anytime I met someone, it's like, oh, you're Monique's little brother, you're Ralph's little brother, you're Richard's little brother. And it's like I wanted to fight to get my own name. So it
Yeah.
took a while. It wasn't until between my sophomore and junior years in high school where I finally hit my growth spurt and I got over 6 feet tall. To put it in perspective, as a freshman in high school, I was 5'4", 88 pounds.
Wow.
Right, as a freshman.
Wow.
So when I graduated, I was 6'2". I was about 135. But I was finally, like the first time I saw my name in the newspaper, I was like, I'm finally me. You know, it's like I'm finally me. And I always shared that because that's what fueled my competitive drive. Like whenever people ask me to describe myself, whenever you strip away all the other hats and what's left, right? What's left is I'm a competitor, and I got that from my upbringing.
Yeah, all of us pick up things that threads. That's why I named this things Threads of Enlightenment. All of us pick up threads that, as a young individual, that will walk with us to our entire life.
Yes.
And it will manifest and pop up all through it. And if you look back, anyone, just stop and look back into your life and you'll see them as you investigate and really take inventory, if you will, of your days past. And you will see those threads and how they have caused you to make decisions that have really, truly impact your life. Here you are, man. You are now 6 foot and change. And you saw yourself you claim your identity, as you stated. As you were moving through getting into high school and you claimed your identity. First of all, the question is, how did you feel when you claimed your identity and it was first expressed to you? What did that do to you, number one? Because that was something that you have been chasing for a long time. And when that landed, if you will, landed in you and it was a reality, what did it do to you, Ron?
It fueled me. It's like now I'm coming for the records. Like, and I want to make the records so lofty that it lasts for a long, long time. And I was able to do that. My high jump record lasted 21 years. My Southern Division triple jump record lasted 24 years.
Wow.
So it's like it's my father, the way my father was, as we achieved something, he always immediately raised the bar.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'd be like, hey, Dad, I got top 10. Why didn't you get top 6? Hey, Dad, I got top 6. Why didn't you get top 3? Hey, Dad, I got top 3. Did you win? Hey, Dad, I won. Did you break the record? Right. So it was always about not settling, settling. And that's how you keep that fire burning. Where a lot of people go wrong is they set goals that aren't lofty. They reach the goal and then they get complacent. And I try to help them always raise the bar, even here in the gym. Like when I'm working with my members here, it's like when they reach milestones, we set a different goal. You know, you reach that milestone, we set a different goal. So I'm constantly challenging them, and that keeps them motivated and inspired to keep coming in, because it's not just come in, do the same old routine, leave. You know, come in, same routine, leave. Like every day I have a different challenge waiting for them. And as you know, without challenge, there's no growth.
Yeah, none whatsoever. I think that's why I tell people, don't ever be afraid of the darkness, because it's in the darkness that you get to see the light that is in you. The great power that resides in you is only shining when there is darkness, is only seen. Because if everything is good, you don't need him. You're chilling. You're enjoying it. But when times are dark and you tap into him, he will shine light in your darkness. There are a couple of dream killers out there that I tell people to be very aware of them. 1, fearfulness. Number 2, fearfulness will kill your dream all day long. The other thing is complacency. Complacency. And I describe this to people. Complacency is a place stagnation resides. And if you look into into natural stuff, into nature, if you ever look and see a stagnant water, there is danger there like you would not believe. And nature is one of the most powerful teachers. Things are there in that stagnant pool that will kill you. And the same is the example in natural life. There are things in that situation that will kill you, your dream, your potential, all of those different things there. And so your goals, if you will, has to be so big that when you get exhausted and broken and can't move another inch, that you get up and you move another inch, because it's so big, it motivates you to get up and push. That's how big. You want to know how big it is? It has to be that big. When it's dark and you got nothing else to do, that thing will come and say, yeah, you got to get up. So here you are, man. You got all the accolades as far as the athletic stuff, and you're pushing through. You're now heading towards college. And again, these are some of the spaces that we are visiting as the programmers are there telling us certain things. And one of the influential programmers in your life is dad telling you, yeah, so what? You impressed me with the last one. Yeah, but what? Come on, man. There's another one ahead of you. And you're picking up some valuable lessons from dad. Now, as you're looking towards college, and, talk to me as to the whispers that are happening within you, Robert. Number two, as you're heading there. Number two, within the family, as to the direction, as to where you're going to go. And I want to know, why did you pick the one that you went to?
All right, so my college story is a little interesting. So in athletics, I reached a pretty high level, and so I had my eyes on the 1992 Olympics.
Mhm.
So I was trying really hard to qualify for at least the trials. I don't know if I would have made the games, but I was at least shooting for the trials. Excuse me. So when it comes to college itself, I wanted to go into something in the health/fitness industry. Like being an athlete, that was just something that I wanted to do. But my father, as I said, my father was an engineer.
Mhm.
And to his credit, he wasn't wrong, but he saw that everything was becoming more and more computerized in the early 90s. So he was like, you should get into computer engineering. And I was like, I don't think I should. It's like that. Like, that's not something I want to do. But just like, he was pretty persistent. And so I gave in. So I chose the University of Rhode Island, because they had a pretty solid track and field team, and they have a pretty good engineering program. But as I got into it, I really wasn't there. Like, my heart wasn't set on engineering. Like, my heart was set on making it to the Olympic trials. Yeah. So as I was trying to, I ended up landing weird doing the triple jump, and I ended up popping my knee. Right. So now I'm studying something that I don't want to do, and now I'm injured and I can't run track. So like, I went into a depression, and I ended up leaving school. So I ended up dropping out of school 3 times. And because again, like, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And also at this time, I was managing restaurants. Like, I became a supervisor at 15. I became a general manager at 19. So like, I was getting backdoor education, like learning, because I learned a lot more managing restaurants than I thought I would. Yeah. So I had told myself, if I don't go to school, I'm going to join the military. Like, that was pretty much the deal I made with my dad. And so if I ever believed in a higher power, it was this time, because 2 days before I was supposed to ship off to Fort Knox, Kentucky for boot camp, I just got this weird feeling in my chest. And then I ended up at the ER. It took 6 different doctors to diagnose what was going on with me. Yeah. And turned out I had pericarditis, which is the lining of your heart swells. And it was like creating this popping sound coming out of my chest. So the next day I had to go back to the military processing center up in Boston, Mass. And they immediately disqualified me. Yeah. Like 2 days before I was supposed to go. So I guess I wasn't meant to go. Yeah. So I ended up just managing restaurants for the next probably 12 years or so. And then finally just hit me like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. Like, I don't want to do it. Like, I want to do something in the athletic field. So I converted my garage into a gym. And at first it was just for me. Like, I needed an outlet for me, because now I'm getting fed up being in the restaurants. I had small kids at the time, and I was missing a lot of stuff because the restaurant schedule is pretty demanding. And so I converted my garage into a gym. And it started out just for me. But then I said, you know what? I have all this stuff. Why don't I, train a couple people and may as well make some money out of it? And then here we are.
Yeah. The body, Robert, is an interesting tool. As I said, It houses us. But when we start to become disaligned with what we need to do, it will begin to signal us with some stuff. You weren't supposed to go to the military. That's one thing. Number two, and then it shut it down. It was very adamant about that, the fact that you didn't belong there, and because there was something else that needed to be done. That, and I tell people about God. All wisdom, all knowledge, all understanding. It's a great individual to have on your team, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have all the wisdom, all the, some stuff that you don't know anything about. You and I just doing what we're doing,
Yeah.
But that individual has some foresight and be able to steer you out from a few things. And so you don't belong there. But you had this thing about dealing with something with athletics and nutrition and all that kind of stuff, and the athletic piece, and you had to be led there. The gym is first stage. I mean, that's the beginning of the beginnings, if you will. And so you had to fulfill that calling that you had when you were way back then, man. And I think that's what starts happening to us when we were young. That calling starts to amplify through our life, and it will come to us and shake us up in a few things. So here you are in the gym. You got the idea, the bright idea, as I tell people. Synchronicity is so powerful, isn't it, man? As you began to train, when you began to do that, okay, because you transition, you said it's just for me. I'm working at the hospital. I mean, the restaurant, I'm doing all the thing, but this is just for me. And when it became not just for you anymore, what began to happen to you, Robert?
Well, the turning point was, so I have probably about 30 people training with me in my garage at this point. And one
Yeah.
of the women, she goes to give me a check. I only charged $50 a month because I didn't know any better at the time.
Yeah.
But it was three days a week. And she's getting ready to hand me a check. And she says, like, she pulls it back. She goes, before I give this to you, she said, I want you to know that 2 minutes from my house, they just opened a brand new state-of-the-art Planet Fitness.
Mhm.
She's like, it's $10 a month. She's like, I'm willing to give you 5 times the amount because you believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And that's how I knew this was bigger than just fitness.
Yeah.
And so I started putting in a lot more of the mental performance
Mhm.
into the workout. So it's not like you just come in, work out, and leave. And like tying in the things that we're doing in class to things that they can deal with in everyday life. It's like for some of the ladies, it's like, imagine going to Lowe's and getting a 50-pound bag of sand and not needing a cart to carry it.
Yeah.
When like putting in those types of lessons. So it's not just me coming up with just random stuff for them to do. It's stuff that can translate out there into everyday life. So it became bigger than just me wanting to train people, is to help people just become better versions of themselves.
Let me talk to that piece right there. When she made that statement to you, Robert, and where did you begin to collect the data from to address the other aspect of the human being? First, I understand you go and you get the data for weights and training and stuff like that. You were an athlete for a while, so you were familiar with collection of data in that particular arena. But you mentioned with this lady, she motivated you to begin to pursue and bring an additional aspect of the individual, right? So where did you start collecting that data, and how did you collect that data?
So in 2014, there's this summit out in California that's called Fitness Business Summit.
Mhm.
And so I had a bad knee injury in 2009, and I donated a kidney to my sister in 2011. So there's a bunch to unpack in both of those. But the relevancy here is I applied for a scholarship to this summit. And, just using me coming back, because with that knee injury, I was told I would never run or jump again.
Yeah.
And so I completely defied those odds. And then, doing the heart-centered thing and saving my sister's life. I think those two stories combined, I ended up winning one of the 2 scholarships. So all I had to pay for was the flight to California. The scholarship covered everything else, which was awesome. But being at that event really started to open up my eyes to the possibilities. Because going back to what we said earlier about other people knocking you off of your path, when I got hired at a local YMCA and I met the personal training director, and he's like, you don't want to become a PT. He's like, there's no money in it. So like that's my first introduction into the industry, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm at this summit and I'm listening to people who are killing it in the industry.
Yeah.
And just as each speaker came up, I would just take in more and more things. So from that one event, I ended up joining, I ended up getting a business coach. And then I ended up joining other masterminds on how to get in media, on branding, on marketing. Like I said earlier, on marketing, I got backdoor educated. So like when I'm speaking on these platforms, people always ask me, where'd you get your degree? I'm like, School of Hard Knocks. You know, it's like I just went around and I just learned from experts in their field. And then I took all of that info and I turned it into my own program and into my own book.
Yeah, I tell people there are several ways to learn. You have the theory where you're in the classroom, and then there's the lab.
Yeah, exactly.
That you learn the practicalness of what people are reading and the theory that some of them don't even know how to apply, even though they understand the theory, but they haven't had the lab experience in order to apply the theories that they have. And so they're full of book knowledge, as they say.
Yes.
But they have nothing else. And those that are skilled with the practical stuff, they're usually the bosses. So here you are, man. You've been around and you gain all your stuff from, as you said, from the back door, and you are gaining all of these things. I'm more interested at this particular point in time in doing the master class and all these different things, Robert. Things has to start happening to you, because all the clients and stuff like that's afterwards. You are your first client, after all this stuff, you are your first client. And then you see what works with you and how it is so effective with you. And then you're able to practice and release those things into others and become more proficient, if you will. As your first client, how were you doing with the data? As you're collecting all these things, you got the business coach. I got all of that. There's the business side of it. But internally, Robert, talk to me, man. What was going on with that man inside you as you're accumulating all the knowledge and all the different things that is necessary for where you're at today? But it has to be doing something to you as you're going through. Remember, you were sidetracked by this guy that says, now don't do this. But these guys are now that are doing it are putting you back on track, if you will. So a shift had to happen there, Robert. Talk to me about that shift.
So one of the big things that I took away from that summit was staying in your zone of genius. So what that means is people try to do everything, absolutely everything. And the things that they're best at that can make them the most money and give them the most impact, it gets kind of pushed to the side because they're focused on doing all of this other stuff that doesn't do anything to inspire other people or move the needle forward. Yeah. And that was me. When I first started in fitness, I tried to be everything to everyone. And then just as I started to learn and grow, I knew like I have to zero in into one area. Yeah. When I wrote my book, it took me 3 years to write it because I didn't know what direction I wanted it to go in. It's like, do I want to talk about overcoming obstacles? Do I want to talk about defying the odds? Do I want to talk about self-doubt through public speaking? And then it hit me, I can combine it all into one because all of that stuff starts with self-doubt.
Oh, yeah.
And myself, I've experienced imposter syndrome. Like I've experienced, like why would people want to hear from me? You got all these celebrities and all these politicians and all these other people that you can have on your show. Like, why would people want to listen to me? But then it's like, I'm an everyday person. And that's why it's like people that I talk to, it's like, I'm not some untouchable bigwig that like you'll never reach my status. I'm an everyday dude. I get out here and I grind every single day. And I let people know. People think life is hard. It's not. Like I tell people, if you want to lose weight, drink enough water, get 10,000 steps a day, train 3 times a week, and eat clean 70% of the time. You stick to that, you're going to reach your fitness goals. Like it's not hard. It's like we complicate it ourselves because we get tempted by the cookies. We get tempted by going to the movie and getting a large popcorn. I've disciplined myself enough to where I don't want to say I don't give in to those temptations, but I don't let the temptations consume me. Like if I want pizza, I'll find a place that sells pizza by the slice and I'll get a slice of pizza because I'm just as human as everyone else. If I get a large pizza, I'm going to have more than one. Yeah. So it's about disciplining yourself. So throughout that process, I learned to focus on what I really want versus what I want in this moment.
Yeah, that's the key. Jesus said, this, go in the world, make disciples. Disciples change the world.
Excuse me.
Those guys change the world. I tell people, members don't do nothing but sit in the church, but disciples. So whatever field you're shooting to become a disciple, what's discipleship? Discipline. Become disciplined in whatever you're pursuing. Everything in moderation, including moderation. That's one of the key things in one of the ancient Chinese proverbs. So everything in moderation. I have some ice cream, but I don't have the whole box and the whole thing of ice cream. So you enjoy life, man. Do your thing, but be disciplined and be moderate in how you approach things and certain things in life. But yeah, and one of the things Robert talked about, one of the keys of success, Napoleon Hill talked about, is specialized knowledge that one attains. Most of us are so generalized when we approach things, but when we specialize our knowledge, meaning that we condense, we become more focused, we strip away all the noise and find that little piece and focus on that, what is called specialized knowledge. That's what is going to bring you your success. So whatever that is, I don't know what it is within you, but seek it, find it, and don't be afraid to strip down and become lean, as they say, because those are the ones that is going to make it happen. So here you are, man. You began to strip it down, began to specialize your knowledge, as they say. When you began to do that, when you got there and you specialize, and I know as a result of that, you give birth to the book. When you applied all of those things that you began to strip down into you first, what did you notice about you as you were applying them? And then you began to put them in the book. But you had to, as I said before, you had to put them in you first. When you were putting them in you, Robert, what did you notice about your mind, first of all, because that's the place needs to be changed. And then after your mind changes, everything else follows. Talk to me about what happened to your mind as you began to implement all of these different tools and knowledge and data into you.
Yeah. So whether people believe in the law of attraction or not, it's real.
Yeah.
Right? It's absolutely real. So
that's why it's called a law.
Yes, exactly. But there's people out there that think it's just a myth or just some kind of talking point, but it's real. Whatever you focus on, it's what's going to come to you. Like if you're focused on challenges and struggles, you're going to deal with challenges and struggles. You focus on opportunities, then you start seeing the light. And that's what it was with me. Well, I was battling the imposter syndrome and all that stuff. I just started thinking of all these reasons why stuff won't work. And then now it's like, no matter what I set out to do, I do it. Like you have to see it, because if you focus on the struggle, you can't see the opportunity that's waving to you. And I've been through a lot of stuff. Like I've been through divorce. I've been through getting fired after 20 some odd years, never being fired before. No, I've been through, having a strained relationship with one of my children. Thankfully, we have repaired it. It's like I've watched my father pass away. We had to end care for him. So it's like I've been through a lot of stuff where I've built up my resilience, and where I tell people now I'm emotionally bulletproof. Like there's nothing out there in this world that can break me. Like I was even homeless for 5 days, bouncing around through hotels. So it's like when I'm working with people, I'm letting them see whatever it is you're going through, keep going. You just keep going through it. Don't let it consume you. Don't let it knock you off track. But that was the biggest thing that helped with me, is like to keep your eye on the prize and be honest with yourself. Like I think that was the biggest shift, was I had to be honest with myself. It's like you're trying to do all of these things. No, look, you're not good at this. You're not good at this. You're not good at that. Outsource those things and focus on the things that you are best at. Like for example, my business coach was saying, you want to set up your gym so you don't have to be there. Like that doesn't work for me. I want to be here. I want to see them as they reach these milestones, when they get on the scale and they like what they see, or they try to climb up the 20-foot rope that they've tried for 3 weeks and they get halfway and they come back down. Like I want to see them in that moment. So it's like what works for other people doesn't necessarily work for you. So I tell people, look inward, what works for you? Because for most people, their pivot, it's already in their subconscious mind. Remember, I told you earlier, when you asked me about college, I wanted to do something in the health, fitness, athletic industry. And here I am managing a gym, and I coach indoor and outdoor track and field. So like that that seed was already planted. It just took 20 years for it to, well, not even about 15 years for it to come to fruition, but it was already there. But too many people, they're attaching themselves, like earlier when I was talking about who you are at your core, people attach themselves to their jobs. They attach themselves to their significant others, or they attach themselves to their kids. But like, even through all of that, that's not you. Like, before you became a parent, you were someone. Before you got into those industries, you were someone. Tap into that someone, and that'll help you get on the path of what it is you want to do.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things, Robert, for them to do and for anyone to do, because the labels, the programs, you're a husband, you're an employee. And so when you are an employee, you attach yourself to the job. You don't attach yourself to nothing else. You're an employee of this thing. And so when you lose that job and you're no longer an employee, what do you have? Because you're programmed to be an employee. And when you lose your husband and wife, you're programmed to be a husband and wife. You're walking around all these little programs, and you're like, but the main question I tell people, you're going to have to ask yourself at some point, who are you apart from mom, dad, the kids, the job? One of the most important questions you'll ever have to face. And you're going to have to be honest with yourself about that, because you can't lie to you, because you know who you are. And you have to answer that. And the day you answer that truthfully and you become the observer in your life is the day you have switched and the day you are now starting on your journey. When you become an observer, you have begun your journey, because that's when you begin to see things.
Sorry. Before you ask your next question, I just want to piggyback on that really quick, because like when I started my podcast, I used to start it like, I don't screen my guests ahead of time. Like, I like the conversation to just develop, kind of how we're talking here. Yeah. And I would ask, like, I would say, who is Ken? And then there would be like 30 seconds of just awkward silence, because people could not answer that question. So now before we go live, I let them know ahead of time. I'm like, I'm going to ask you who you are, because then people would start again giving me their resume. Like, well, I'm a corporate speaker and I'm this. I'm like, no, that's what you do. That's not who you are. Those are two different things. And a lot of people get thrown off of that path because they try to combine the two, but those are two completely separate things.
Yeah, don't give them any clues, man. Just ask them ask them, because when you do that, Robert, everyone that is listening, that's how they would do it. They will stop because they're not familiar with that question. They'll stop and take 30 seconds, because the regular guy like you and I and the regular people, no one ever asked them that. And so I wouldn't screen them, bro. I'd let them all, let the people see the reality of it. That's all of us have to answer that question. And it will stump anyone, because they don't program us to answer that question, if you will. They don't tell us that we could ask that question, or we should be asking that question. And we should be asking that question all the time. So here we are, man, Robert, you got your stuff. Talk to me about the book, because you have to now put this thing in play. It took you 3 years, and you've gained some insights from the back door, from all hanging around those bodies and those people with some additional stuff that you didn't need to learn in school. How did you begin to put that down on paper? And now, by putting it down on paper, you have to create it with your type of juice, if you will, your personality with it. How did it come about within that 3-year period?
Okay, well, here it is. This should be darker, but it says shut up and grind.
Yep.
So I got that being worked on. But this isn't just a book where you buy it and just read about me and my stories. So some of my stories are spliced in, but there's 13 worksheets built into this book, because people always say, be the change you want to see in the world. And I want to see people chasing after their dreams and believing in themselves. So I took 7 of the principles that I use to help people get in shape, which I'll give you a couple. We start off with the pain assessment, and that's like a self-assessment of where you are currently. And it's a deep dive. And then from there, how to eliminate excuses. From there, how to set a clear vision, because having a vision and setting goals are two different things. So we set the vision first, then we set a goal, then we assess your circle. Because if you have people in your circle who are negative, you don't have to cut them out of your life, but you got to cut them out of the conversation. and it goes through the best practices in doing that. And then a couple others are prioritizing yourself without the guilt. Like a lot of moms struggle with that. So as you're going through, it's very interactive. This at the end, at people who complete this book, like, 'cause it's not my goal to just like sell 100,000 books. I want to help people, right? It doesn't do anything if people buy this book and it sits on their shelf. So for your listeners, if you struggle with self-doubt, imposter syndrome, like you have unresolved trauma inside, this book will help you overcome it. I know I can't say this on the record, but this is going to save people thousands in therapy. So if you go through this step by step and follow it completely the way I've laid it out, because I've literally done this in my own life. This isn't something that I just dreamt of. And like these principles work. I use it in my fitness business. I use it when I'm coaching other speakers, and it'll be the best $20 you ever spent.
Yeah, I tell people you don't always have to do those buy the book guys, because I've said this a million times. When you have these guys that you're paying a one-on-one session, you're paying X amount, hundreds of thousands of dollars and thousands of dollars, $20, and you're having a one-on-one. Why? Because that author's wisdom and knowledge is sitting right there, and it's laid out so that you take your quiet time, prepare yourself for that meeting, and you will receive wisdom, knowledge, and insights that are sitting there, and it will redirect you and pull you out from where you're at, and it will help you and save your life. Many books have redirected me, and I always steer my audience to read, because in those pages and within the walls of that book house wisdom, knowledge, and insight that is there, proven, tried, and just waiting for people to receive it. So we're going to provide all the links for you guys to get to Robert and buy his books, offer it as presents and gifts and stuff like that to people. So here you are, man. Robert, you've put this together, and you have the opportunity where you could see, and in your gym, you're watching the accomplishment of people you've gone through the imposter syndrome, all those different things we all have to go through within the journey is just a part of it. Talk to me. When you had an opportunity to witness something like that young lady in the beginning, on the onset, that came to you with that check. On the beginning of the program, just before we went on the air, I talked to you. I said a servant get an opportunity to witness one of the birth of an individual, I call it. It's a beautiful thing, man. When we see that, the birth meaning that there was a perspective that they held on to for a mighty long time that governed their lives. After spending time with you, however long that is, but that conversation or several conversations, if you will, you have been able to move the needle, if you will. And sometimes it takes time and sometimes it moves quickly. But as that needle is moved, there is one day, Robert, when that thing, we've seen that picture with the light bulb moment, when that individual, boom, and you could see it within their face. Everything changes. That transition, it is one of the most powerful places and states that you will ever, as a human being, get to witness. Only a servant will see that, man. Robert, talk to me about, invite us to one of those events, because it is a powerful event that happened on this planet, and it happens daily. One that you got an opportunity to witness, and talked about what it did to that individual.
As you were talking, I was thinking of about 2000. Like, there's so many different directions I could take this in, but I'll pick one that's not too long of a story. So I was volunteering at a business called Social Enterprise Greenhouse. And so what they do is they help people, typically lower income people, who have an idea. They put them through a 12-week accelerator and help them turn that idea into a business. So my job was to help them create their pitch, because at the end of the 12 weeks, they got the pitch to potential investors. So I would help people craft their story. So this one woman that I worked with, her name was Safoni. So she had come up with juicing. You know how you have like those all natural juice drinks? Yeah, because she's had systemic lupus, and the doctors pretty much told her, you're on your own. So she started experimenting with just different fruits and vegetables and herbs and stuff. And so she ended up reversing her own symptoms. And so she turned it into something that she could sell. But she has stage fright. So she was scared to death about pitching in front of the investors. And so I worked with her for probably about 8 sessions. And we just like the principles that I use in this book, like I used in real time, you know, so like I beta tested it with probably about a dozen people before I actually finished it.
Yeah.
But I just worked with her. We've discovered like, what is your fear? What is it that you want most? And what you want most has to be greater than your fear.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, once you reach that point, you're going to do fine. So as we're going through, we're working with her on her presentation, her presence, her pitch, her tonality. We went through all of that. And then when it came time for the pitch, I was a little nervous because our last session, she was still stumbling a little. And she hit that beautifully to the point where as I'm listening, I got teary-eyed.
Wow.
It's like watching your kid hit their first home run. You know what I mean? It's like, it's those moments. Like, this isn't about money. This is about impact.
Yeah.
Impact. Like what we went through in those 8 days, she's never going to forget it. Like money comes and goes, you know, but moments like that stay with you forever.
Yeah. Those are precious, man. Those are birth. You know, I always people that's you watching the birth of an individual.
Yes.
And there's nothing when it comes to that type of birth, because that, you know, that's destiny changing stuff.
Yes.
And those things are priceless, and it's an honor to be there. And you guys have been listening to Robert and I, and I'll toss out a little nugget as well on the way out, is before you start your assignment, and if you want to do something, spend a couple of days just meditating on it. Just meditate, number one. But activate your imagination. See yourself accomplishing what you want to do. Get up and see yourself. See it, bring it in your mind. And as Robert, I talked about, because what are you doing? You are a creator. You are a powerful being, that subconscious being, that soul of who you truly are. And when you start doing that, you started energetically sending out signals and calling and pulling towards you. You are what you eat. Begin to eat using your imagination what you want. Begin to eat it. Begin to digest it. And when it tastes it, it will manifest. I'm telling you guys, you are what you eat. Be very careful what you're eating. Don't listen to people and let them feed you. Feed yourself. Robert, thank you so much for coming, man. It's been good because I know you have some other things on your plate.
Yes.
And it's been an honor to have you here. We're going to provide everything for you guys to get to him. I want you to also get into his space, listen to his podcast, learn, man, learn. We're going to provide everything for you guys to have access to him and become a different individual to obtain and gain all the things that you want while you're here on this planet. Robert, thank you for coming to Threads of Enlightenment, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's an honor, man.
Thanks for tuning in to Threads of Enlightenment with Ken Primus. Hopefully you're now feeling more empowered to overcome the challenges in your life, whatever they may be. Share that inspiration with others by telling them about this podcast, rating it, and of course, remember to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. For more connection, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching for Threads of Enlightenment. Until next time, stay enlightened.